Once upon a time, there was a young man named Sho, and he was a student at the Zen master's monastery. Sho was a good student, but he had one problem. He was very quick to anger. He would get angry at the slightest provocation, and he would often say and do things that he later regretted. One day, Sho was walking in the forest when he came across a Zen master sitting under a tree. The Zen master was old and frail, but he had a kind and gentle face. Sho approached the Zen master and said, "Master, I have a problem. I am very quick to anger. Can you teach me how to control my anger?" The Zen master smiled and said, "Of course I can teach you how to control your anger, but first you must do something for me." "What is it?" Sho asked. "I want you to go to the market and buy me a handful of beans," the Zen master said. "But there is one condition. You must not get angry with anyone you meet along the way." Sho agreed, and he set off for the market. As he walked, he tried to keep his mind calm and focused, but it was not easy. People bumped into him, they jostled him, and they even called him names. But Sho did not get angry. He simply smiled and said, "Excuse me." Finally, Sho reached the market. He bought a handful of beans, and he started to walk back to the Zen master's house. As he walked, he thought about what had happened. He realized that he had been able to control his anger, even though people had been rude to him. Sho arrived at the Zen master's house, and he gave him the beans. The Zen master smiled and said, "Well done. You have learned how to control your anger. Now I will tell you the secret." The Zen master took a bean from Sho's hand and he held it up. "This bean represents your anger," he said, "and this is what you must do with it." The Zen master crushed the bean in his hand. "When you get angry," he said, "you must crush your anger just like this. You must not let it fester inside of you. You must let it go." Sho understood. He thanked the Zen master and he went on his way. He never got angry again. The next day, Sho was walking in the forest when he came across a group of children playing. The children were throwing rocks at each other, and they were laughing and having fun. Sho stopped to watch them, and he smiled. He remembered the Zen master's words, and he realized that the children were not angry when they threw the rocks. They were simply having fun. Sho realized that anger is a choice. We can choose to be angry, or we can choose to let it go. And when we choose to let it go, we are free. Sho continued to walk through the forest, and he thought about all the things that had made him angry in the past. He thought about the times he had yelled at his parents, the times he had gotten into fights with his friends, and the times he had said things he regretted. Sho realized that he had wasted a lot of time and energy being angry. He had let his anger control him, and it had prevented him from living a happy and fulfilling life. Sho decided that he was not going to let anger control him anymore. He was going to choose to let it go, and he was going to live his life with peace and happiness. Sho continued to walk through the forest, and he felt a sense of peace and freedom that he had never felt before. He knew that he had finally learned the secret to controlling his anger. The moral of the story is that anger is a choice. We can choose to be angry, or we can choose to let it go. And when we choose to let it go, we are free. If you are struggling with anger, I encourage you to remember this story. Remember that you have the power to choose how you react to the things that happen to you. You can choose to be angry, or you can choose to let it go. And when you choose to let it go, you will be free. Here are some additional tips for controlling anger. Identify your triggers. What are the things that make you angry? Once you know your triggers, you can start to avoid them or develop coping mechanisms for dealing with them. Talk to someone you trust. If you are feeling overwhelmed by anger, talk to someone you trust. They can help you to understand your anger and to develop healthy coping mechanisms. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. This can be a helpful way to learn to control anger, as it can help you to see your anger for what it is, a temporary emotion that does not need to control you. Exercise regularly and avoid alcohol and drugs. Thanks for watching.